Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever you're watching. My voice is a little bit sore because I just watched East vs. West 9. I got off of work today, came home, watched East vs. West 9. I'm not going to give my spoilers or anything like that. Great event. Ingen Terzi again knocked it out of the park. It was absolutely amazing. Uh, Kudos to the new king of arm wrestling. And yeah. But the reason why I'm making this video is I feel like I need to address um, a certain loudmouth in the community, the local community. This has nothing to do with like national level or anything like that. Um, his name is Alan Vaughn, and it is amazing to me how easily people get triggered these days. But whatever. So um, there was a post about East vs. West 9. There was a comment made about it. Um, I have an opinion. He has an opinion, and we'll just leave it at that. Because again, I don't want to put spoilers, right? But in any case, long and the short of it is that then basically, dude goes and starts, laughing or whatever emojis at different pictures on my profile and all that, like a little child, honestly. And so I private message him because I always was raised, hey, if you got a problem with somebody, you talk to him directly. So I private message him and just tell him, look, because I know how he is. I've seen the way he acts. The man thinks that he's Larry Wheels, Engin Terzi, and Devin Larratt all rolled into one. Um, and the long and the short of it is he's still just a low to mid level amateur arm wrestler, which there's nothing against them. I have nothing against them whatsoever. But know your role, know your place, um, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute, like how I was being insulted for knowing my place, um, which is higher than his, but still not high in any way, shape, or form. But anyway, I'm not going to make this a really long video. Here's the deal. Um, you're putting on a quote unquote 198 road to the pros. Okay. Kudos to you for trying to grow the sport. Kudos to you for trying to give a spotlight to up and coming amateur pullers that are trying to make a name for themselves in the sport of arm wrestling, especially in the Carolinas and surrounding areas. Kudos to you for all of that. But don't sit here and come after somebody like me on the subject of my financials when you're asking for sponsorships just to make the event run. LeRae Jenkins comes to mind, and he's doing it with the top of the continent, but top of North America, the top pullers, the top pro pullers in North America. He's doing it and having prize pools for them, big prize pools for them. And he's not asking for sponsors. People in the community are sponsoring, but they're doing it because of the fact that he's bringing the top echelon talent in the continent, at the very least the country, to his round robins. You are bringing forth possibly the top amateurs in the Carolinas, which is great. Again, anything to grow the sport, I'm down for. But you're going to try to hit me on my financials or lack thereof, in your insults, when you're over there looking for sponsorship. What's the matter, Deep Pockets? You can't put it on for yourself? Because here's the deal. Let me tell you some of the things that I have achieved. And in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing, right? But it's a whole lot more than you have. I've had world champions train at my house. At my house. I've had number one pullers in North America train at my house with me. Never had to pay them. Never had to get a sponsorship for them. And unlike you, that's asking for sponsorship, I am sponsoring a super match in January between Austin Jaggers and Shane Owens. So we can talk about financials all you want. And I'm sure that you make more money than me, and I'm sure that you're rolling deep. But in the end, you're asking for money from the community when I gave money to the community. You're asking for people to pull with you when I had world champions train with me. Just saying, buddy. You're not in the same league when you mess with somebody like me. And again, in the grand scheme of things, I'm nobody. But you need to know your role and you need to know your place. Now, speaking of knowing your role and knowing your place, you hit me on the fact that I didn't compete at the PAL events this summer. It's because I know my role and I know my place. And I know that my level isn't strong enough to face the open contenders in those events. I know that because I did compete in Carolina Carnage. And Carolina Carnage is a step down or a step and a half down from the level of talent and the level of killers that we're going to be at the South Carolina State State Championship and the North Carolina State Championship. So my whole argument was, and people made it out to be that it was money related. In a way it was, but it was deeper than that for those of us that paid attention. My argument is why would I throw away $50 or $100, one or both arms, in a competition that I felt very strongly that I wouldn't do well in? And of course, you have the argument, well, just for the experience, just for this. Getting flash pinned twice in a row and then being out of a tournament is not my idea of good experience. Sure, hearing Ready Goes is definitely good. And in the grand scheme of things, anytime you can get competition experience, you should if you can, if it makes sense. It didn't make sense to me. Not to mention they were over 3 hours away. And to do it correctly, I'd want to go and spend the night before so I can do a proper cut. I can do a proper meal plan afterwards and be ready, for weigh-ins and for competition the next day. So now you have the added expenses of like a bed and breakfast or at the very least a hotel, but usually an Airbnb or something like that. Not to mention I actually have responsibilities and a child, and I would have to find a babysitter for her, etc., 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 etc. So for me, it just didn't make any sense to go to these tournaments. But yet, you hit me on the fact that, I didn't go because I didn't have the money. Then you turn around and say that somebody offered for me to go, to pay for my entry fee. So then, when I still didn't go, how is it about money? See, it wasn't. It was about the principle of the fact that why would I go if I knew pretty confidently that I was going to get smoked? There's no sense in going and doing all that prep if you know that your place and your role is not there, something you need to learn. You said in private messages that you wouldn't waste your time with me. I'm just an enthusiast, meaning you're an arm wrestler, but I'm an enthusiast. And you also mistakenly said that I never pulled you. You had a super match with Bradley Doby at Rick Layton's house. I pulled you both after that super match. And by the way, he beat you 3-0 that day. I was there. And I pulled you afterwards. And you're weak. You have really nice gym muscles. I also was coaching you against Bradley. I was telling you to try to grip a little bit lower because I think it was try to grip a little bit lower because you weren't winning the high game. I forget now, it's been a little while. But you forgot that I was even there, and that's great. You forgot that you even gripped up with me. Also great. Know your role. Know your place. You tried to start a whole bunch of drama. My teammates saw it. Talk all the trash you want. Stay the fuck out of my financials. And if you ever want to test your skill against somebody that's just an enthusiast and an old fart that's broke and this, that, and the other thing, just let me know. And when I smack you 3-0, try not to cry too hard, okay? Take it easy. Have a good night.